Hello, I'm here to tell you about what makes the difference between a good and a great speech. If a speech is great, you don't just hear the speech, you feel it. There's like an emotional reaction towards the speaker, and you empathize with her, and it's really important. And so, I know that a lot of public speaking seems like it's content driven, all about what you're saying, but I think it's more important sometimes to consider not just what you're saying, but how you're saying it. In fact, think back to sort of some of the speeches that you've heard that have been the most helpful or the most moving to you. Things that you maybe read in a book or heard on a movie. There's some sort of an indescribable quality that makes that speech great and not just good. And the reason is because those speeches are able to transcend their immediate moments. They don't just matter because they inspired a conflict to start or they made you feel in a particular way, but that there was something in that speech that caused you to have a reaction that you would not normally have. So Aristotle, dead Greek guy, came up with 3 ingredients for what counts as a persuasive speech. The first thing, logos, which is logic, the sort of like content of a speech. Is the argument that you're making succinct? Is it persuasive? That sort of thing. The second is pathos, which is emotion or feeling. Are you able to elicit an emotional reaction in your audience? And the third, which is the most important, is ethos, convincing someone by building up your own credibility. That is important because it creates a speech that is not just content-driven, but form-driven. So Aristotle also, identified 4 different parts of what makes a good speech. A good speech makes an audience well-disposed towards yourself and ill-disposed towards your opponents. It magnifies and minimizes the leading facts. It incites the required kind of emotion in your listener and refreshes their memories by means of recapitulation. Essentially, Aristotle suggested that the differences between a good and great speech are that it is able to create a persuasive response in the audience through your own credibility. What are you doing to sort of make your audience well-disposed towards you, ill-disposed towards your opponent, and create some sort of content that is more persuasive? Another way to think about persuasion is through a more recent study by Yale called the Yale Communication and Attitude Change Program, which initially, tried to figure out how wartime propaganda worked. Those reactions were studied in the way that individuals changed their opinions about who to support in a war. This approach was best identified as who says what to whom, i.e. there's 3 different parts. 1, who, the speaker, that's you. It's about your credibility, your ability to persuade others by convincing them that you care about what you're speaking about, or that you develop a character that's persuasive. Second is the says what. Who says what to whom? Says what. The nature of communication. The says what part is the content. And that is the sort of, is your argument logical? Is it succinct? That sort of thing. The third is to whom. And I think this is one of the most important parts. The to whom is the audience. Who is the audience that you are speaking to, and how are you best able to persuade them? Those are things that all of those things are things that you need to be aware of before making that speech good. But being aware of all 3 of them, I think, will make for great speech, different from a good one.